This is the Musketeer Coach's show. I got a little confused there. I didn't know we had such groovy music coming into it. Curtis Anderson here along with Luke Strand as we talk Musketeer hockey. We were trying to establish the orders and stuff like that, and I hear this groovy music. I go, that's got to be a commercial, doesn't it? It's not a commercial. It's the Musketeer Coach's show. Curtis Anderson along with the head coach of the Musketeers, that's Luke Strand. We're going to talk Musketeer hockey for the next hour as we get set for the home opener coming up on Saturday against the Waterloo Blackhawks. Sioux City right now in 3 weeks has played 4 games, 3-1 on the season. That is good for 6 points. A terrific win this last week. That was at Cedar Rapids, 6-3. That after falling down behind 2-0 in that one. But before we get there, let's talk about what's going on this weekend because we want to make sure people get in. You met a lot of people on Monday over at Rebo's to start.
Yeah, it was a special night. I thought, obviously, thanks to Rebo's and Brian there, it was great. Yeah, but it was good for our guys to get out. I think it was the first time that maybe they had a good taste of what Sioux City is and season ticket holder wise, and just got to meet and greet, and I thought they did an excellent job with their timing of being around people, but at the same time, the support shown was great.
Had that. That was good. That's for season ticket holders and stuff like that. They're going to do a sneak peek on Thursday for the merchandise and stuff. I do want to mention, though, tickets are on sale. Of course, the home opener on Saturday. And Anna and Evan from the band 35th and Taylor, if you haven't seen them, she has an amazing voice. They're going to set to perform live before the home opener. But they're also going to have pregame food. I was kind of disappointed because I'll probably be getting ready for the game instead of having brats, dogs, hamburgers, beer for $2 and sodas. And then first 500 kids in the door, box office lobby entrance only, will receive free Musketeer youth jersey courtesy of Floyd Valley Healthcare, which is awesome. Must have a ticket to qualify. And everyone in attendance get the magnetic schedule, so that's always a come out. Couple other things I do want to mention before we get there. Where's my beer special? Special. Every Saturday, 2 24-ounce beers for $12. That's from 6 until puck drop. And by the way, how about...
Say that again?
2 24-ounce beers inside for 12 smacks from 6 until puck drop.
Might not be able to see the game.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Whatever. As long as you're there, we'll keep you informed. And then there's a Tuesday game next week, too, remember. And so $2 hot dogs for Tuesdays. So dinner cheap on that one. And then the other one I do want to mention is the Lucky Period. Luke, you just encourage your players to score. Sponsored by Meridian, by the way. And this is what, and I've talked about it a few times, the Musketeers and Meridian Clinic are excited to bring the Musketeers a brand new promotion sure to add some extra drama to the third period. Now, during the games, which the first Lucky Period game is coming up on the 20th. So, if the Musketeers score within the first 25 seconds of the third period, one lucky fan in attendance will walk away with $10,000. Big fat check that they could walk out. I think they'll give you a different check to cash at your bank or what have you. But 25 seconds into the period, someone's going to win $10,000. So now it's up to your team now, Luke.
Thinking how to disperse that money properly.
Incentive?
There could be an incentive program.
Yeah, I don't know. The players,
great promotion.
It's an NCAA violation somewhere in there if they're involved in the check.
Great promotion.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. You talk about exciting. You know how I always loved that win something if you make the puck in the little small hole. But you know how, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
But this one is just as exciting because 25 seconds in, if the fans, and obviously Bishop or whoever is going to be mentioning this a few times, someone's, if you guys score in the first 25 seconds of the third period, that place is going to go bonkers.
It'll happen. I think it would happen this year.
Yeah, I hope so. It's pretty awesome.
Yep.
So, anyways, that is
Might not
what's
be a
coming
repeat performance of it like consistently, but
I like your odds if you score 25 seconds into the third period.
yeah, me too. I mean, it could be a stoppage, it could be a face-off play, there could be a whole number of things. It doesn't have to be off the the initial puck drop, race 25. I mean, we could have two stoppages, we could have two end zone face-offs with 25 seconds.
I think I remember a couple years ago, Micah Miller sliced through about 4 defenders, went down and scored in the first 25 seconds of a period.
I like it.
It can happen. Let's talk some Musketeer hockey. This is the Musketeer Coach
Say
Show.
how checks can be made
per winner. Dispersed.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look into that. That's Jake. That's on Jake on that one. You guys taking on Cedar Rapids 6-3 final score. And let me tell you, oh, by the way, the Coach's Show here is brought to you by Sioux City Ford, also brought to you by Knife River, and brought to you by, of course, Bob Rowe, always takes care of us here. I do want to say 6-3. It was a little nerve-wracking. A couple of things in that game is, okay, they score first. That's not the end of the world, but that's one of those determining factors in games. And then scoring close to the end of the first period, that was tough. Because this Cedar Rapids team's a good team, and boy, they can move.
I think they've got some balance. They got up and down the rink for sure, the way they skate. Their goaltending had been dynamite going into the game. So, I think when you've got backing going on like that, you tend to lean on offense and maybe a little careful or careless. You don't really care. I mean, you've got a good backbone back there. So I thought we played a very, very good Cedar Rapids team.
Yeah. They're much. I liked them last year.
Yeah, they were undefeated going into this game, which was, that was kind of a tall test.
Yeah, and they did it by a number of reasons. Second period, though, didn't push that aside. You got a couple Cedar Rapids guys involved in Bolin and Lombardi. That had to give a shot in the arm, did it not?
It was awesome. I think, obviously, Bo come out 2 minutes into the period, score. One, I mean, you're going against your old team, but good guy that's been a great addition to our group that's come out and done his part. So you get those two, which double bonus, like you said, is the idea that was a former team.
Happens, doesn't it?
And it's 2 minutes in to push us.
You've traded people away, and they come back and bite you.
They always do. They always do.
And that's 2 minutes in, right back at it, 2-1. All of a sudden, it changes direction. You finally, I don't know how many minutes the last time you got a power play, but
we haven't had a complete
power play
until now. This is the first game.
Well, this one wasn't complete, the first one, because you guys scored beforehand. Great puck movement. Parker Ford gets it. Brink, Johnson out on top. It just looked like it's sharp, like you've actually had some power plays this year.
It's been the looks we had, and it was 0 for whatever. It was 0 for a bunch of tiny bits of power plays, not
20 seconds.
Yeah, and then are you really going after a goal versus what's coming out of the box? So the puck movement is great. They shot some pucks. I thought that the plays made by Johns walking the blue line, getting it back to Brinker, attacking the seam, and finds Fargo, who is getting really good in the middle of a power play as far as his release, but yet just getting open.
About his second goal that night. Give him a little space, a crossbar. That's a clanger. He
comes up the wall, kind of on the half wall there, and turns and fires back to the net and goes far side shelf. And the idea of just delivering a puck at the net with traffic, somehow or another, he technically got hit before he shot the puck. Otherwise, right? So
I don't know. That guy gets cross-checked more than anybody, and he got cross-checked right across the face, didn't he?
Right after he scored, which did not get us another power play, but that's another story. So it was
interesting.
It was big time. I mean, you get your a leader, a returner to come back, score back-to-back goals. Those were big momentum swinging moments right there.
And then let's talk about the fourth goal, which it was. This is what simple hockey is. Awesome hockey. Luke Johnson throws a puck at the net, and you got guys out front scraping after it. Now, Kelly and Kelly got it now because both Marcus and Martin were in front of the net. So I had I said one of those guys scored, and then I saw Marcus in the front of the line. So I'm like, I guess it's Kelly and Kelly because they're both scraping at rebounds.
It's the one you got to see the video, because the reason you really know Kelly and Kelly scores is just his celebration after he scores.
Sometimes that helps the broadcast.
Yeah, the other four gathered, and he was still doing his
little
knee down, fist pump dance deal. So, but a big time goal. It's a rebound. It's tight to the cage, and he went straight up under the bar and in with it. And at that time, a little over a minute left in the period, that really pushed us along.
How many times have you talked about already early in the season just getting pucks to the net and going after that second shot? Because that was something you guys didn't do in the first period, by the way.
We didn't. It was 2-1 and done. Like, we didn't get the second chances. We didn't get to the rebound.
Sometimes it bounces the wrong way, but
it does. But you'd feel a lot better about it if your body position was already there instead of having to reach for it later on. So it was a big time goal, big time timing of the goal, and anytime you get your defenseman getting pucks through from the blue line, a lot of things happen there with traffic.
They come back. I really like this Cedar team. They came back right at you, and then you counter with a goal by Bobby Brink, and it's terrific again.
Yeah, I mean, there again is shooting the puck from the blue line, right? Anthony Carrer's got the puck. He's able to look off. He's able to move. Rips a shot for the blue line that Brinker gets the stick on and totally redirects.
Yep.
And, not close to the net, like hash mark high. So
put it near the net and I'll deflect something.
Yeah, he's got great hand-eye. Obviously, Brinker's a talented player, and good for Anthony, because that's taking more and more poise of a young D to just get their eyes up, see the seam where the puck's got to get through, and deliver pucks.
How huge was that goal, though?
Huge. I mean, it was a little later in the period. I think when they made it, when they scored there early in the third, it was a scramble moments. We were kind of on the scramble. They were doing some things. We found ourselves getting in the box there a few times, which we didn't really need to be, but that goal right there, I think, just gave us a breathing room, and at the same time might have taken the wind out of their sails.
Yeah, what I like to say, almost a simple, clean set of hockey, because just clean chips, clean everything, clean movement. And by the way, you got opportunities from it.
Yeah, and when you got the
easy,
lead,
clean, something like that.
Yeah, no, you're right on. And I think when you've got the lead, sometimes people don't make plays. They try to be conservative. It's no way to play. It's tough. So I thought we did skate, and when you do play in front, the other team probably adds some risk to their game. And if you're doing it the right way, you're going to take advantage of those risks.
They really didn't have a lot of opportunities down the stretch.
No odd mans, and that was a huge. I mean, in the first period, I think we gave up 5 odd mans. We haven't given up 5 odd mans the last 2 games, so that was.
It's not surprising. Cedar seems to be that way.
They do. They skate their D join. They get up and down the rink, and but I think it almost took us as a younger team to witness it before we had to believe it. So that really curved the latter part of the game. Is just we were simple, we were tight, and I thought we won a lot of races and battles.
Well, you got that, and then one final thing out of this is. Last and definitely not least, it feels good to have Ben Krause behind you.
Krause was dynamite. I think early he'd be the first to say it. He might have felt like he fought it or just blocked it more than swarmed it up. And
he's getting used to the other team as well,
He
right?
is a little bit of pressure, and that pressure, traffic, second drives, things like that. So he really, as the game wore on, just inserted himself in the game, making huge saves, but just calming the whole temperature of the game down by just the simplicity, the way he does.
Really did. Musketeers win that game, just one game on the weekend, and then get back at it. It is going to be this week, Thursday, Friday at Fargo. Saturday, remember, that baby is home sweet home, and then the next week, Tuesday. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. The Musketeer Coaches Show will continue on Fox Sports Radio 620, KMNS. Musketeer Coaches Show brought to you by Knife River and fine sponsors throughout the season of Musketeer hockey. At Bob Rose Point after Curtis Anderson, along with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers, that is Luke Strand. And we talk Musketeer hockey, Fargo, and Waterloo. We'll talk more about that. Let's talk more about individual. You're shaking around a little bit back and forth with Parker Ford, with Nilsson, without Nilsson, with Malcolmson, and it's those two lines a little bit. Kind of explain what what you're seeing?
Just balance. I think there's a few sides to it. I think if you can, when we got Fordo playing wing with Nils, it's a good line, but we might lose some depth out of it. And then when you put Fordo back in the middle, and Matt Miller's playing excellent hockey, and you slide him up there, and now Fordo in the middle of Stuyvesant, Malcolmson. Now you're going down the lineup: Pospisil, Nilsson, Ford. You can match up with maybe two of them, but the third, whoever you don't match up with,
could have a nice
night, and that's kind of where it's been happening. You got to figure a week ago in Green Bay, Stuyman scores. That's Fordo in the middle. Fordo scores. That's with Malky and Steiny in the middle. So you're going to have a tough time containing all three.
Something's working there. And then Matt Miller, I can see him on so many different lines because I kind of liked him with Bolin because of that hard. He's working as hard as I've ever seen him. I don't know. Maybe it's just showing.
No,
something.
it is, and I think there's a comfortableness as far as a returning player, a guy that's maybe just knowledgeable about the league. I think his routine, there we are, we're going on the road on Saturday to CR, come in the locker room in the morning, and Mills is in the gym just leaking. Like, he has got a routine that he wants, he needs, and that's what he's doing, and that's just a sign of maturity here as a player, and he's really a ton more confident right now with the puck on his stick.
How confident is your defenseman getting? Because I saw improvement at Cedar Rapids, a team that likes to pinch down at teams too.
Yeah, I think our D's, it is weird because I think there's parts of our game right now where our D's are like, okay, we got to get adjusted to this pressure or this team. Mm-hmm. And then as time wears on, or because of our youth, there's times of the game where someone might have a couple average shifts in a row, but we've got the ability right now to keep putting those kids back over the boards. And by the end of the game, now all of a sudden, there we are at the end of the game. There's Anthony Kerr, a 2002 born, playing in the last minute of the game. That's there's a lot to be said about getting miles out of those guys, and if you can keep, the Johnsons and some minutes down on some guys because you can play the newer, younger guys, it's going to pay dividends.
Yeah, and really, Kerr stands out. I mean,
he's excellent skater.
That's where it starts, is skating, right? But his hands are great.
He is. He's calm. Matter of fact, too calm sometimes. In a good way. You got to give him all the credit in the world because that takes that puck confidence you're talking about. And as a young player, his feet has got great escapability, and the no panic is probably because he can get out of any situation as well.
Well, I just have noticed him at times is that they're coming in on him and he just skates by him.
Yeah,
or he just uses his hands in a great way.
He's a tender, so he's a 2002 born, one of 7 in the league.
So he's top 7 in the league for his age, basically. I mean, you have to be. Yeah. Because you don't take a tender unless they can play.
Correct.
Unless they're a top 10 type team.
I mean, he's coming down from Winnipeg, and the idea of coming down here, pursuing NCAA, staying out of major junior hockey, all the things that he would have easily been able to do up there, it's been good. And Anthony sees a heck of a kid as well. And I think with every one of these moments, we were just talking about a meeting today with the staff, every day you see some more growth, and as that growth continues, it's going to be hard to take minutes away from some of these guys.
It does, and you see the progress on these guys, and it's just little steps. And it's kind of funny is that poor home fans won't see it until 6 games in.
Well, that might be.
By the way, you're 0-1 at home, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
Is that official? I thought, can't we call that neutral site?
The funny part is that game, I think, we were still getting last change, or we weren't getting last change on the road because it was in Pittsburgh. It was just whatever. So, yeah, we're really excited to get home to the Tyson.
It's okay. I saw you get last change a couple times on Saturday.
Potentially.
By the way. I noticed that. I noticed things like that. When maybe a Cedar's a little more aggressive about changing.
Yeah, if they want to go over the boards first on their home ice, that's fine.
Then you slow down and switch your lines. Yeah. I saw that happen.
Or sometimes you put over 6 guys over the boards instead of just the 5, so you can have an option where you take off.
Someone has to get off the ice sooner or later. How is the health right now?
Well, it's kind of got to us. Yesterday practice, Seibel, the other goalie, comes across, makes a diving save, takes a puck off right ring finger, fingertip fracture, explodes the end of his finger off, basically. Today, practice, Josh Boleen takes a high stick to the eye, stitches pretty swollen shut. Got to see a little more help with that part. So the beauty is, I think there's depth here. The unfortunate part is you get some of those guys going in a rhythm. You don't want them out.
Yeah. So what do you do with Cybell, or is that just question mark coming up?
We're going to bring in Aiden Harper's coming in. Harps is one of our affiliate goalies, committed to UMass Lowell, rather. So Harps is going to come in and be with us through Tuesday. That way, I think it's probably ample time that Sibes can grip a stick and make a save. It's on his blocker, so you don't have to worry about the blocker part. But you do stick vibration, you do all the scramble parts of a goalie. Like your hands are so involved. Your fingers, that ring finger ends up being a controlling hand or finger out there on the stick. So we got to get him healthy on that part, and this should buy some time with that. And then hopefully Bo's just got an eyeball here that by the time we get back Saturday, he's got it taped open and we can play him.
Tape it open.
It won't be the first time.
Whatever. Just a little glue.
Taped open is it was something we do, actually.
That sounds like it's more of a torture from way back when.
Tough to blink, but that's okay.
Blink later.
Yep.
Let's get a break in. We'll talk about Fargo mostly, and we might touch on Waterloo, the home opener, but Fargo's the next opponent. That's what we want to look at. The Musketeer Coaches Show is here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Musketeer Coaches Show is right here at Bob Rose Point After, as we talk local and regional sports, and right now it is time to talk about the matchup. The Sioux City Musketeers will take on the Fargo Force, and that is coming up on Thursday and Friday. It's going to be a nice, busy week for the Musketeers. Coach Luke, tell me about Fargo. What's first initial thoughts as we talk about this team here coming up?
They've got forward depth. I think they've got really strong forwards. They returned Hank Crone, who just spent the last 2 years at Boston University. He left when he departed the league, he had a 70-point season. So very talented, smaller player, big-time puck control. So they're down their middle is pretty strong with Crone and with Mancinelli, and Myers on a wing has done a nice job with that top group. And the Drobot boy, although he hasn't scored, is a good player. So
he was good last year. You can see him coming along.
Mitten has been a second-year player. You can see that's around it, and watching them. And I know Ryan went and watched them live last Friday in Omaha, and they're a talented group with some depth. I don't know if they've got the decor that they had a year ago, which was a mega talented decor, but they've got a good decor, and they've returned Bischel in that.
Yeah, that's where you start, is Bischel, who number one. He could play any time for that Clark Cup championship. If you were in that many games on a championship team, I think you're all right.
Yep. No, he's going to give them some confidence back there, and they've been on the road. So you look at the outlying Fargo. There's a trip to be said about where you're coming from and what you're doing. So everyone's a little surprised at the record, but I got to tell you, they're a better team than what the record sits right now.
They're 2-3 in 5 games. I guess you'd be surprised if they were 0-5, but I mean, from top to bottom, we are so close anyway.
It is, and if you don't bring it, you're in trouble. And
one bounce could be a difference in a game.
One bounce for sure that way, and I think they've got the ability to change a game with their forwards. They're a talented offensive group.
Yeah, the guys, and then didn't Coach make some acquisitions for Madison last year too?
He did. Mancinelli, O'Reilly, those two players are talented guys. O'Reilly's a draft pick this past in the NHL. Mancinelli will be a future NHL draft pick. So those two players have been talented in their group that way. And you start out the year, and if you're not healthy or you don't have guys going, and they had the number of new players because of their turnover after winning. And sometimes there's a little next year lull after you win a championship the year before. So They can get hot, but it won't. Just hopefully not this weekend.
They get hot late. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you don't want to get hot. You play it 10 times.
You don't. I mean, but they're talented. You just got to know that they're going to be. They can really escape pressure. They live and die off the attack, their rush, 1-2-2 check team. That they want to transition. They want to be a part of things. So they're going to be involved, and you better bring your game.
I always think a 1-2-2 check. It just seems, if you think of it, it should be lulled off. But do they come heavy on one side or other side or both?
Yeah, they're 1 and they're 2 really go puck side, take away the strong side wall, almost flushing you to the weak side, where their weak side player is not hesitating. He's coming down. So if you can keep that puck moving away from their initial pressure points, you're going to have some odd mans and you have some things in your favor. They do, like any of Carey's teams, they work. So those first 2 players will reload and track and try to get back over the top of the puck by the time it gets to the red line, and give those D's confidence to stay up.
They can stay up, but the other side too. It just seems like in their D zone, they come and attack your blue liner.
Yeah, they're pressure. They're going to pressure up top. You're going to have to earn. You have to stay over some pucks down low. They're going to give us some looks, and that's where I think they're counting on Bischel to do what he's done and been doing, and that's be a stellar goaltender. And if you crack that bank, you put yourself in a good spot.
Got that Thursday, got that Friday. Of course, we'll have the coverage, and then Saturday is the home opener. And without going too far into Waterloo, because I know concentration is on Fargo, but what does PK have coming back for this year?
Well, he's got Jared Moe at net. I mean, that's a returning goalie that's been very successful inside of the league. Last year was no fluke that he came back and performed the way he did. Even though he's a young goalie, he did a great job with himself. He's got a blue line with that returns players. The Ferradino, Sorensen, Palmer. Those kids are all returning players. And then up front, the first off boy is a Russian over here that's having a great year. And Cassetti, you got to figure there's a kid that played 2 years at NTDP. Now he's in the second year with Waterloo.
Brumel's another one I remember from last year. That's the one I'm thinking of?
Yep. Oh yeah. No, okay. He's been there for sure.
Okay. Some guys have been there for a couple of years, so
yep.
it's.
And so they've got some returning players there for sure that make a difference, and then the Koopman brothers, both 98s,
on the blue line. Yeah.
One's on the blue line, one's a centerman there. So
did he transition one, or were they both D last year? At some time? One was always forward.
Yeah, the one's always been forward. One's always been a D. So they've got balance. They've got a nice team, and obviously PK's a heck of a coach, so they're going to have their team in order.
It just seems like last year maybe they were lacking depth on their blue line. This year they have plenty of depth on their blue line.
They do. That returning, I think when you get, some of your returning guys that actually aren't maybe in year 1 and year 2, but rather down, you get some pretty good balance when you're starting to play Sorensen against somebody else's second line, etc.
Well, I guess one positive thing is I don't see guys that I saw on their roster 2 years or 3 years ago, so that's kind of a bonus there.
No. Ferrandino's been around there.
I know.
Been around there for a while.
I'm talking about like the top 2 lines.
Yeah, no, I mean,
when we've seen that second line come all the way back to next year.
Today, right now, you don't see NCAA returning line, and like Finkelstein last year that comes back from Boston College and leads their team in points on the stretch.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, so catch them when you can, and obviously they're going to be sleeping in Sioux City the night before, and they'll be here before we will. We'll get probably back Saturday morning about 4 a.m. and I think they're in Sioux Falls the night before.
Is that where they are? Funny how that
can't control that, Curtis. No time to squander.
Well, I just funny how those things happen sometimes. They really shock me.
Fire alarm went off at the Delta in the middle of the night. That'd be something different, but
now that is
that's old. We don't do that, but the old days you sure did.
Yeah, that's where is everyone staying Delta or mostly that?
Mostly that.
It's a nice convenience.
Fantastic hotel and obviously convenient to the rink.
How big is it going to be to be home? I mean, you guys are all pumped. Everything's great, and it's been great on the road to kind of get to know each other.
Yeah, the road's been good. I mean, I think that you control, you routine, you do some things as a group because you're not home, you're not distracted. So there's going to be some learning points on that part because now, it's really nice that mom, dad, friends, whatever are around. They want to come to a game, but you can't lose what you need to do to make yourself the best version of you that night. And homes, when you're at home, sometimes that is the case that happens.
Yeah, and then they're really on it. And if as long as you can survive a good record on this quick 6 games, and so far so good.
So far so good, and you look at last Friday, it was our first practice at the Tyson, and our guys were so darn giddy. It was a terrible practice. Like they were just like a kid in the candy store to get back home and skate in it, and so to be home and now playing it, it'll be exciting, and obviously the events preluding the game is outstanding.
Yeah, people, I think it's going to be a nice day, too, for tailgaters and stuff like that. I think we're going to see sunshine at least and maybe 50s or something to that factor, so people should come out on Saturday because you have all the deals. You get brats, burgers, beers. On Saturdays, 2 for $12 on the big beers until puck drop, and then 35th is playing, which they're awesome. So you got the hoopla.
It's an exciting couple weeks. You get a home opener, you get the midweek game there against Des Moines on Tuesday, and then cross-check for cancer, which will be an awesome event the following Saturday.
Is it coming that fast? I suppose
27th.
Suppose we should mention that real quick here. I know we're up against it, but cross-check cancer is a change from Pink in the Rink, but it's the same idea.
It is. I think it's just expanding cancer. Not just specifically breast cancer, but it's for all cancers. So,
is that a trend going across the board on different? Because I was just up at the soon-to-be champion Vikings game, and they were up pushing the fight against all the cancers. They were. I think the Vikings they'll lose before that.
Well, yeah.
They usually do.
And then, because I think that was the whole multicolored.
Yes. Ideas. But you're going purple, so you have the right color for the. Grape slushies.
Cross-check for cancer. Cross-check cancer has been, going through the hockey world that way is purple. So we're in it, and it'll be an exciting event. And earlier in the day, I'm going to take a little plunge for Special Olympics. That should be interesting as well.
How long before you get to do that one?
So that's the 27th. That's a noon 27th polar plunge.
Excellent. That's good. Good for you.
It's not really going through the ice, so it'll be a different type of polar plunge for me, but that's okay.
You'll take care of that. That's for Special Olympics. Always working with the areas around is pretty awesome.
It is awesome. They deserve it, and any opportunity we can help in either awareness or fun, that's what we should do.
Perfect. Coach, we'll see you at the bus tomorrow.
Can't wait.
All right. That is Luke Strand. He's the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers. Musketeer Coaches show each Tuesday, either Bob Rose or Bob Rose North End Zone. And have a great evening. Of course, Musketeer hockey all season long on Fox Sports Radio 620, KMNS, Sioux City.